the signs have been pointing to this for the last couple of hours, Brian. This dramatic decision. We reported on Nightly News 6:30 tonight that the decision was now in President Trump's hands. This was after Sean Spicer told reporters at the White House around 5 o'clock that the president was evaluating the situation. That was an hour after Kellyanne Conway had said on MSNBC that the president had confidence in General Flynn. But clearly, this report that has since broken, that Sally Yates, the former acting attorney general, had warned General Flynn and members of the White House top team several weeks ago that there was a risk that the Russians could be blackmailing General Flynn with information about communications with General Flynn that he had not reported accurately to his colleagues. Brian?
Andrea, for folks just tuning in who haven't followed this story as you and I have today, let me see if I get this right. New sanctions come out in the waning days and hours, really, of the Obama administration. And we expect Russia and Putin to react angrily, as they usually do, but they don't. And the absence of a negative reaction causes American intel officials to look back through the intel that they take in all the time, that both sides know they take in all the time. Buried in that intel is a conversation between Mike Flynn, who is poised to be the National Security Advisor to the incoming president, but is then a civilian, a retired U.S. Army general, a conversation between him and the Russian ambassador. It is alleged that that conversation included what, Andrea?
Well, first of all, the conversation, the timing of it. It was on December 29th, although that was originally denied, but then acknowledged by General Flynn. It was on the same exact day that the Obama White House was announcing that they were kicking out 35 Russian diplomats, accusing them of espionage, and shutting down 2 major facilities, one in Maryland, one on Long Island. Now, usually it's one person kicked out and there's a tit for tat automatically. This is the protocol that goes back to the Cold War. You kick out a diplomat, another diplomat gets accused of espionage in the other country and gets thrown out. In this case, 35 diplomats were kicked out, told to go packing within 48 hours. And the Russians respond, Vladimir Putin responds by inviting American diplomatic children in Moscow to a Christmas party. So obviously, the counterintelligence folks at the FBI would have had their antennae up and go back, as you point out, over what could have happened in those times, and they start looking back over the normal listening in, the intercept of the ambassador and other diplomatic Russian diplomats in Washington, and lo and behold, what do they find? But many communications, not just one, but several communications and texts between the Russian ambassador and Mike Flynn, who is poised to be the National Security Advisor. He had already been announced. He was meeting with diplomats, and there's nothing wrong with them meeting and getting to know the new people, getting to know the diplomats who are eager to learn as much as they can about Donald Trump, because frankly, they didn't expect that he was going to be elected. They thought they knew all the people they needed to know around Hillary Clinton. So it's a scramble among diplomats in Washington, and certainly being tasked by their heads of state and their foreign ministers back home. Tell me everything you can about Michael Flynn. So it's pretty intensive. But Michael Flynn had a prior relationship with the Russians. He knew them well. And going back to 2015, he was in Moscow sitting at a gala dinner, having been paid to attend by RT, the Russian propaganda arm, sitting next to Vladimir Putin at a black-tie dinner. That already causing a lot of buzz in diplomatic circles when he was named National Security Advisor. Donald Trump, very transparently during the campaign, had said he wants better relations with Vladimir Putin. But intriguingly, he has never criticized Putin. He criticizes other leaders, but before, during the transition, and since, he has nothing negative to say about Vladimir Putin. This sanctioning was met with nothing but sort of a laugh, a smile, and an invitation to a Christmas party.
This is bad to me, because did you want to say something for the camera? No? Okay, I'll say it. The question is, to me, I'll put that on freezes. See, my question is, when did Donald Trump know that Mike Flynn was going to have the conversation with the Russian ambassador? Because right now it's pictured as if he he acted on his own, right? But it makes more sense to me that he would say to Donald Trump, hey, you know what? If you make me national security advisor and agree to that, I'll call the Russian ambassador and I'll have those sanctions. I'll tell him we're going to get rid of those sanctions and tell him to give him a heads up, and I'll smooth it over I'll help you smooth it over. And I could see Trump saying, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. And then Mike Flynn making that call, because if that's the case, then the other question is, I mean, at some point, Donald Trump had to know that he was going to make that call before he did it. He had to. He didn't. He just, he just didn't act on his own. He didn't. And this is, boy. I have a feeling it's going to go from bad to worse.
Yeah. All of this stuff with Putin is a mystery, and all of this stuff of how Trump got elected is a mystery.
Yeah.
So I think, everybody just needs to be quiet, because God's going to work this whole thing out. That thing, what's done in the dark will come to the light.
Yep, looks like it. Oh, stay tuned, folks. Oh, boy.
Tune in tomorrow.